Good evening. I've got my stylish reading glasses on tonight. So, no, they're not safety glasses. They just really, really look like it. But anyway, I'm farsighted. I need to be able to read some of my notes here. But welcome to another edition of An American Living in Germany. Observations of an American Living in Germany. Took a little road trip today. I went up to a town called Wildeck, or I guess Germany, they would say it Wildeck. It's on the border of what used to be West and East Germany. It's not one of the common crossing area like Helmstedt or anything like that, but it's where the German state of Hessen borders the German state of Thuringia. Now, if I'm saying that improperly, I apologize. It's Thuringia. It's a really weird boundary line. The border between East Germany and West Germany, it looks like on the map like it's fairly straightforward, but when you get down to the local town level, it's all disjointed. It looks like a squished salamander. It twists and turns all around, and I'm guessing it goes across what was farmland or town borders, things like that. But anyway, I was actually standing on one side of the road that was former West Germany looking into East Germany, and they still had an old guard tower in the woods. And the area used to be pretty clear cut back when the wall was still up and the border was still there. But now a lot of there were a lot of guard towers, and they had roads where the East German soldiers could go up and down and look at people trying to escape. But a lot of it, the trees have grown up now. This is, 34 years ago that the wall came down. I think it was in the end of 89. But anyway, so, 33, 34 years gone by. A lot of the stuff has grown up, but they seem to have left it to be a green space, which is really nice from a nature standpoint. When I was in the town of Wildeck and then went into the East German town of Gerstungen, I believe is how they say it. You drive in and then you go very short distance, then you're back into what was West Germany, and then you go back into East Germany again, then back into West. I imagine a lot of those roads after World War II, the Soviets probably blocked off a lot of those roads. And there was a set of railroad tracks. So I'm sure they had checkpoints set up, but there's no way all those roads were passable. They must have had them blocked off. I ended up going down through Wittershausen and then into Heringen. And that's when I went back into the western part. I got out, I took a couple pictures, but it's really not a touristy area. But I've always been curious because I was in East Germany twice when I was a child, back during the Cold War. Once when I was 10, and then again when I was 16. One time we took the train from, I believe, Munich. We lived in Garmisch at the time. We went on the train from Munich to Berlin. And we had to stop and switch to a diesel locomotive because they didn't have electric lines in the eastern part. And then the second time we drove, and because my dad was in the military, we couldn't go through Leipzig. We had to go all the way up to Helmstedt. And I believe that's what Checkpoint Alpha is. And then Checkpoint Bravo is when you would go from East Germany into West Berlin. And then Checkpoint Charlie is the famous one between West Berlin and East Berlin. I've not been to Berlin yet since we moved back over here. But we will do that sometime before we go back to the States. I'd really like to see that. On the way there, I've noticed wherever you go in Germany, when you go to a grocery store, they don't give you bags like they do at Walmart or any store in the States. So you either have to bring your own bag or buy one there. They do sell them there. I don't remember they're not that expensive, but it's kind of a pain. But if you buy any soda, like cans of Coke, a lot of bottles of beer, bottled cola, you have to pay what's called a fund, and then you go back and get your deposit back when you bring the bottles. I'm guessing it's for recycling, but it also must cut down on litter because you never see litter in Germany. It's a pain, but I guess it helps keep things clean. But anyway, I may have mentioned that in another video. But when you go to McDonald's, I've gone to 2 different McDonald's here, and they have a kiosk, and you just order at the kiosk, and you get a little thing with your table number on it. And on the kiosk, it even lets you do English, German, or French, which is very convenient for those of us who can't seem to get a handle on learning Deutsch. But you get a little number, and you type it in. You pay with your credit card. You get your little receipt. You go sit down, and they bring your meal right out to you. And I've noticed that the burger here tasted better than a McDonald's burger in the States. Now, that's not saying much, but it was better. The fries here are just as good. The chicken McNuggets here are not as good, though, because they probably don't have a lot of the bad stuff. And if you buy a soda here, it has it's made from real cane sugar, and it's not made from high fructose corn syrup. I guess Coke Zero is the same as it is in the United States, but well, they don't call it Coke Zero anymore. I think they call it just no sugar Coke. But nonetheless, and I've noticed the McDonald's were very, very clean, very clean. And when they actually brought the drink out in the cup, and it had ice in it, which is not too common over here. But you don't get free refills, though. So that's different. In the States, they have it's like self-serve. When I was on the highway and you stop at a gas station here, whether it's, usually if it's on the highway, a service plaza, you have to pay $1 or €1 to use the bathroom. It kind of sucks, but when you do, you get a little voucher, a little ticket prints out, and it's good for $1 off any food purchase. So if you want to buy a soft pretzel or a drink, you at least get your $1 off. So I mean, I understand they do it. It helps keep things clean. As an American, it's kind of irritating if you don't have any euro coins in your pocket. Some of them will take bills, but most of them that I've seen, you should have a coin. So I keep a bunch of euros in the car for such things. And when you get gasoline here, you pull up and you have your choice of Super 95 E10, which is the cheapest, same as 90 octane in the States. You have Super 95 E5, which is a couple cents more, and that's 5% ethanol instead of 10. Then they have Super 98. That'd be like if you had a Corvette or a Mustang GT or a Dodge Challenger or a Mercedes, BMW, something that requires premium fuel. Super 98 in Germany is the same as Super 95 or as 93 octane in the United States. They measure it a little bit differently. There's a research method and the motor method, and I think in the United States they use the average of 2, so our numbers are lower. But they don't sell any of the cheap 87 octane that we have in the States. That would be 92. They don't sell it here. But driving on the Autobahn, you need all the oomph you can get, and a lot of German cars have a smaller engine than an American car, and they usually have a turbo on it, and they have the timing set a little farther ahead. So they don't want to, you run low octane fuel, that thing will ping like a Jamaican steel drum. Anyway, so you pump your fuel and you go inside and then you pay for it in there. I know they have them somewhere, but I've never seen one that has the credit card machine on the gas pump. Like I said, maybe they have them. I've just never seen one. And when we buy fuel over here, we have to go to Esso we get a military discount. Fuel's a lot cheaper. We have an Esso debit card that we use, or we can buy fuel on base. And last time I bought fuel, the pump price was $1.80, and with the military discount, I think I paid $1.15 for a liter. So like if it's, I think it was like $28, and I ended up paying like 18 or something like that. It's the discount varies, but there's some kind of negotiated rate they have, and we get a little bit off on the taxes because we don't participate in the German healthcare system, the pension system, the welfare system. We don't have kids in the school here. It's kind of like getting a break on the VAT tax. They throw us a little bit of a bone because we're also paying taxes in the United States too. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but It helps a little bit. I've noticed that on the Autobahn, things go really, really smoothly. When it's unrestricted, you're hauling ass out there. I tend to go 140 kilometers, which is seems that's like 86 miles an hour. That seems to be my decent speed. Most of the time, I'll have people flying past me, and that's okay. I stay out of the left lane unless I'm passing, which is what you're supposed to do. But all of a sudden, traffic just backs up, and there's a big, they call it a stau, traffic jam. It just backs up really badly, and then a couple miles later, it just dissipates. But a lot of times it's because of construction. And I've noticed that in Germany, they don't seem to move very quickly on their road maintenance. Seems like in the United States, they're quicker about it, but I don't think they do as good of a job because Germans have a lot fewer potholes than America. But from what I've seen, they don't do any construction at night or on weekends. In the United States, they almost have to do the construction at night, especially on main arteries like Interstate 95 or Interstate 81. They almost have to do it at night whenever possible. But Germany doesn't have the number of cars that the United States does, but they got a hell of a lot. Germany is probably smaller than Texas, and they have almost 85 million people. And mass transit is good here, but not everybody uses it. There's still a lot of cars on the road. But driving on the Autobahn is overall much better than the United States. Because German people tend to be more highly skilled at driving. Sometimes in the cities it can be a little hairy. Sometimes in the city, especially people with these little smart cars, there's like little bugs. They're just all around you. They're just. I find those cars very annoying. People get in your blind spot, they cut you off, and everything else. But yeah, on the Autobahn, it's much preferable to an American interstate. I've noticed that we have an American spec car, and in Germany they have AM, FM radio just like in the United States, but our tuner, we can't get half the German stations. I usually stream music through my phone, through the Bluetooth. That way I can stream Sirius XM, even though there's no satellites in Germany. I can stream it through my phone, and it uses very little data just for audio. But in the United States, radio frequencies are like 87.9 to 107.9, and they use 0.1, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and 0.9, like 101.9, 105.3 for the broadcast frequencies for FM. In Germany, they use even numbers, so they use like 104.2, 102.0, 102.4, 106.8. So we cannot pick up any of those in our car. Our tuner is not set up for it. Our navigation system also does not work over here. It's just because they don't have, I guess the satellite. There's no, the proper satellite is not hovering over Germany. Just like with Sirius XM, you can pick it up in Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, but you can't pick it up over here unless you stream it through your phone. I've noticed that I'm seeing a couple places where you can't make the right turn on red, which is anywhere here, unless it says you can. Some places will have a lit, illuminated green arrow that you can go. Other places will have one painted. I saw one coming back from East Germany today. It was a painted green arrow, so that means you can make a right turn on red if nobody's coming. Kind of convenient. I did notice I didn't drive very far into what was East Germany, but I went through two towns and everything seemed to be really new. There was an industrial complex right near the border, all new buildings, because in East Germany, that was an area that was along the border, and they would have wanted it wide open for security so they could see people trying to sneak out. But I remember when I was a kid being here, traveling through at night, everything was all dark. You might see a porch light on somewhere, and everything was kind of gray and dingy. They really have come around. There's all these cute little houses and buildings, and the German reunification is probably the best thing that ever happened to the country. Nobody, when during the Cold War, I wonder if anybody ever thought that would even happen, but it did. And I don't understand the internals of German politics, but whatever they did, they got those provinces reunited, and that land is so beautiful out there, the farmland. And you could see where, you could obviously see where the border fences were. There was one place they still had posts up, but no fence. And I like how they kept it a green space, as I said before. But I'm getting too long in this video. I'm running on too long. But it was very interesting to see that part of the country. And I apologize if I mispronounced Thuringia or Thuringia or Thuringia, however you say it. I'm sure there was going to be a German who will correct me, and that's okay. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I have a hard enough time pronouncing things in Spanish, but German is a whole different animal. But anyway, I wish everybody a good night, and I'll try and chime in on here another time in the near future. And I apologize for these awful glasses, but I'm very farsighted. I can see things. I can see two owls in a tree half a mile away. I can read road signs, but I can't read anything right up in front of me. I guess it just comes from getting old, but it's better to be farsighted than nearsighted. That's definitely true. Anyway, auf Wiedersehen, guten Nacht.